Welcome to another episode of The Color of Our Community. I'm Tisha Green, a real estate broker with Lavisionproperties, and I created this video series to explore, uplift, and celebrate the good things that are happening in our South Los Angeles neighborhoods. So today I'm excited to introduce to you CHARLA Harris. She's the executive director and founder of a very unique charter school in Hyde Park. So I can't wait for you to learn more about CHARLA and her school. So welcome, CHARLA.
Hey, Tisha.
All right. Thank you so much for deciding to join us today on Color of Our Community. So we want to get the word out about your charter school, Learning by Design. So and it's in Hyde Park, of course, in our community.
Yes.
And so I want to start with asking you about your story, about how it is you chose to, found a school like this, and what was the impetus? What was that process like for you?
Yes, thank you. First of all, thank you for having me. Just honored and to be here with you. So that's a great question. And honestly, it's kind of like a three-part answer. I think it starts off with, I started off being a teacher right out of college, loved it. I worked in Compton and found pretty early on I was successful working with a certain group of students, with all students, but pretty successful. And really what it was is I was able to develop great relationships with them, but also just was really creative. We had little to no resources. And I learned to be really, really creative with what I had. And it was just very hands-on for the children because I had to be. So that was like my first experience. And then after becoming a mom of two African-American boys, I became very concerned about what their educational experience would be in the traditional classroom setting. And I opted to homeschool them because of those concerns.
Right.
I just didn't feel that would work best for my children. And I didn't want to put them in a system that didn't honor their learning style and what they needed emotionally and socially. So I opted to keep them out for a while until I could find the right space for them. And I did.
In your home or outside of your home?
In my home for the first year, and then outside of my home in a school setting. They're very social beings as well. So I wanted them to be in a social setting, in a school setting. So we found one, but then that kind of brought about the next concern is, as a woman of color, wanting to have a particular experience for my children, how many other families want that and may not have the resources or the access to be able to provide that experience for their children. So I started doing research and just asking questions. Like, if this type of school were available for your children, would you attend that school? And the resounding answer in the end was yes. Yes. And
so you did like kind of outreach survey type of situation, maybe through our mom groups and that kind of thing?
I absolutely did. And through local moms, other moms groups, going to local schools in the community. And people were very honest. And people would say, I'm really happy with this portion of the program at my kid's school, but I wished more of this were going on. And a lot of it was the hands-on, experiential, less punitive, more kind of warmth type of thing they were looking for that schools traditionally don't have. And so that was really what my concern was. So I kind of just started going down this road like, okay, that's a desire for people in our community that doesn't seem to exist. So what can I do about that? And then I think in one of those nights you're up and you have insomnia and just this idea planted in my brain, like, I'm gonna start a school.
In need, and I'm going to fill the need.
I'm going to fill this need. Absolutely. And I did the research. I was able to raise money to help me spend more time doing the research.
So how long was that process? Like from the initial conception, when you first started doing the outreach and just surveying and seeing if other moms were experiencing, or other moms and parents, honestly, moms and dads were experiencing that kind of concern about their kids' education. From there to when you were able to actually open the doors, I'm just curious what that process.
It was probably about 2.5 years. So from the time that moment really where it's like, I'm going to start a school, it was probably around the summer of 2015. And then when our school was actually approved to open was February of 2018. So during that time is the whole startup and launch process.
Right. So you guys have been open now for just a little over 2 years.
This is our second year. So we're finishing up our second year.
Okay. So, I'm a real estate broker. So obviously this is about location for me and community. You chose a school site within the Hyde Park community. Tell us, where's your school located? Exactly.
We're located 7019 South Van Ness.
7019 South Van Ness.
We're right next to the Hyde Park Library. And so, it's a very nice school building. And we've been here for a year now. And we chose.
I see all of the learning, bright, vibrant, creative learning materials behind you.
And this is all us. I can't wait to share more pictures with you guys of everything that we've been creating in our school. But we chose this area, and we were told not to. We were told don't go into the South Los Angeles area because it's saturated. Yeah, it's saturated.
Because it's saturated.
Yep.
So are there more charter schools in South Los Angeles than there are in other areas?
In most areas, absolutely.
Why do you think that is?
That's a great question. It's a great question. I think
it just triggered me. I was like, do you think that other folks think there was more of a need, or maybe is it easier access to start because, or is it because other schools in other areas maybe are sufficient and there seems to be maybe a deficiency? I don't know.
I think there's a lot of reasons, but I think it is probably seen as the greatest need. The greatest need in the area, probably data. A lot of people, when you go into the chartering process, you have to prove that there is a need in this area, and there's clearly a high need for quality.
So that's an easier threshold to get through for your charter approval.
Yes and no, because it should be, but then because it's so saturated, then there is the next roadblock that you have to now face.
So then, because South Los Angeles was saturated, what then? Why didn't you just choose
another area?
For
several reasons. Number one, when I looked at the demographics, this was the demographics that I think represented who I am and the demographics I really wanted to serve. Mm-hmm. And the research showed that there was no school doing what we wanted to do. I think what we found is there were schools doing some things on trend, obviously, right? Like, we're doing some hands-ons, we wanted to make those things a center, a critical point of how we designed our school.
So then the pillars of your school differentiate you from other schools or other charters in the area, or traditional schools.
Absolutely. Definitely more experiential, but in the spirit of really using your hands, using your ideas, really being responsive to needs in the area and in the community. So there's a concept called design-based learning. So while you can have experiences, we really want to provide students the ideas to use those higher level thinking and take what they learn and apply it to real life situations. So some of that is creating with their hands, building things with their hands, solving problems in a very tangible way that's very relevant for them in their lives. So we really want to build a community that's founded and based on that. Like even before the school opened, most of our furniture was built, not necessarily by the children, but we love the concept of not just purchasing pre-made furniture, but no, we want to design our school to look and feel the way that we want. So we had our furniture built. We had shelves built.
Is that like a shelf behind you? I see like
there it is. There it is. We literally had that shelf built by someone. Absolutely, in our school. And so we
embrace that creativity.
But I mean, if you think about it, the process of building this shelf required math, required, the measurement and knowing numbers and learning how to put pieces together and critical thinking and problem solving. The person who built that probably had to do a few things over again a few times to build some other skill sets, right? And a lot of that gets lost in the educational experience.
Right.
We want that to be a part of every educational experience or learning for our children in our school.
So now you're in this different environment. You've had to get creative.
Yes.
What are you doing specifically Are all of your children able to, are you able to facilitate online learning for all the children? Do they have, for instance, Wi-Fi at home? Do they have devices?
And
Or is that part of what this gap is?
The hard, short answer is no. So,
okay.
And we found that great. We've given these Chromebooks to so many of our children only to find out they don't have internet. Okay, so now we've got to figure out how to support them in getting internet. And then we've just given tutorials on how to use it.
And that's something so many of us take for granted. You and I are speaking over internet now, but not every household has that. And even if they did have it, with all of what is going on economically and people not being able to work, that may be one of the bills that gets cut off.
Absolutely.
Certainly before your food.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We also provide meals for our families as well. Speaking of which, so families are able to come on to the campus several days a week and get meals at no cost. We provide.
So there's still an embrace of your school community, even though we are distanced.
Absolutely.
I love to hear that.
So, but even in the spirit of wanting to be hands-on, we have kept our innovation teacher in the mix, and we really want to stay true to that. So she's been able to Zoom with students online and help them find household materials to engage in hands-on projects as well. So we really wanted to stay true to that as well. So we're really trying to keep our program as consistent and just a quality program, even at a distance.
Fantastic. I love it. So are other ways that you want to see, if somebody, for instance, is watching this video and they are in the Hyde Park community or surrounding areas and they want to support the type of school that you have and the unique learning environment for you guys to be able to provide this experience for more children in our community and to thrive and grow, what types of partnerships, other things that you see that they might be able to do and contribute?
Thank you for asking that. I think you nailed it, first of all, with partnerships, right? Everyone can ask for money, and we certainly want to do that as well. But while we are a charter and seen as independent from the district, we really see ourselves as a community school. We want to be able to step out into the community more and have the community come onto our campus more. Because our mission is really rooted in experience and design for the students, if there is a shop down the street that has extra wood, extra raw materials, recyclables that they want to donate to us, that is like gold for us. It is like, that really is like our curriculum. So to have hands-on for those types of things would be phenomenal. We have a garden. If someone has garden and seeds and garden beds and dirt that they want, and the children run all this. The children are the leaders of all these things. That's the other element of our mission, to help the students learn more about gardening and growing their own food.
Their leadership skills.
Their leadership skills, absolutely. Really building a community within our school that the community outside of our school can support and embrace. And coming in, sharing your experiences. If you've been a part of this community for 20, 30, 40 years, coming in and sharing the history and the richness of this community, so these children know where they came from and can take pride in being a part of where we are right now. I mean, so much of what they see on the news says otherwise, right? So how can we offset that and really show them a different lens of what's
positive stories?
Absolutely.
And reflections in themselves as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So I really appreciate you joining us. I want to just kind of close, now that you've been around for the last couple of years, and just in reflection, what have been your biggest lessons so far?
We talked about this a little bit, and I really wanted to think a little deeply about that. It's really, for me, what I've learned is it's kind of like in your own personal life. You want to surround yourself with like-minded people and people that love and want to see you grow. I think in building this school, that's just really for me and for the people that are here with us, it's more than a school. It's so important that we have like-minded people who don't come here just to further their career or but to really want to see this grow beyond the school walls.
Oh, you're talking about like the staff.
Absolutely. Having a team, because the team is what takes us to that next level, and having the team that's going to bring something to the school, but really help us expand beyond the team. But what I really learned, Tisha, is that it's not just reading the mission and kind of doing the things, but really having that value as your own personal base as well. And we found that that's been the difference.
So yeah, I think that's great. And I think that's another thing that's great for other people to see you and hear about the mission, because they will be attracted to that, like, you know, like minds attract, you know,
Absolutely.
like, and so
absolutely,
the more you can have folks pour into your school community and then the larger community, the better.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So I really appreciate you joining us and sharing your story about learning by design in Hyde Park, one of our communities that we at LA Vision Properties that we serve. And so I really appreciate having you here today.
Thank you so much for this opportunity, Tisha. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.